So welcome, everyone. I am your pastor, Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Airwalk, and this is Roots Revival Interfaith, where we believe in the three universal truths. That's intuitive intelligence, astrology, and numerology to lead you down your true path in life, assist you with healing, and ultimately help you with character and integrity development so that you can go out and assist others. We are a federally recognized religion and church, not associated with spiritualism, not associated with Christianity in any way. All right. So hope you find a home here. And if you want to know more about us, it's up on the website. Also, if you need to book a reading or a healing with me, you can also go to the website, ivyriverapsychicmedium.com. Now, tonight's sermon topic is on rituals of protection, how to protect yourself from today's evils. And I'm going to break down three different spirits that you can interact with, call upon at any time. These are the fastest spirits who come. They are really designed for this type of work. Some of them you've probably heard of, no doubt, some maybe not. And I'm sure you have your own. I would love to hear in the comment section, because we are a community and we are always looking to share healing, manifestation, and information. Please do post who you reach out to. I mean, we don't necessarily want to hear about like your grandpa or whatever, we get that. But like, what higher up spirits do you reach out to assist you with protection and you feel that has been working for you? We want to be open-minded, that this isn't exclusive to like whatever religion you were raised up on. Okay. Different spirits will show up for you, even if you don't know who they are, even if you never would have thought to call on them in a million years. That's how the universe works. So we're not obligated to any traditional set of spirits. For example, if you were raised Catholic, maybe you think you can only call on St. Michael the Archangel. Okay. It doesn't work that way. So stay open-minded. We're also going to cover the different tactics that you can use to protect yourself, rituals that you can use. And I'm going to explain how you do them. And I want to talk also about a couple things to keep in mind as we go forward in these difficult times, as the world is looking more and more evil every day. The reality is that these things were always there. If you are a person of color, if you are a woman, the stuff that's happening really probably isn't news to you. Okay. As a Latina, I've been shouting from the rooftops, as a psychic, shouting from the rooftops for many years that these things are going on. But now that we see that some horrible things are happening in the public eye, being recorded to white people, there's outrage. Everyone's shocked. Oh my God, this is unprecedented. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Things aren't even, in my opinion, getting that much worse, as much as the veil is lifting and it's being exposed. Nonetheless, this is painful for a lot of you who are going through this for the first time. You're jolted. You're trying to figure out what to do. And for those of you who have been going through this, like myself, your whole life, you're not shocked by any of this. You're still going to want to work on some of these tools and increasing your protection rituals as things are shifting and changing in the collective, for sure. I also just want to mention real quick, if everyone could stop for a minute, give this video a thumbs up. Please do subscribe. Drop a comment of any kind in the comment section right now. It really does help me out in the algorithm. I appreciate you so much, and I would love to hear where you're tuning in from. Also, donations to Roots Revival are appreciated, not required. And if you would like to drop a prayer and healing request, feel free to do so now throughout the service tonight, or even if you're watching this later on, once it's up, it's published as like a video download. Okay, so feel free at any time. I do check back and go over the prayer and healing requests for quite a while. And I ask that everyone here, if you see your neighbor post a prayer and healing request, that you please do some love, manifestation, and healing over their request. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So the thing I really wanted to warn you guys about, okay, is that right now you are susceptible to an increase of attacks. And who has noticed this in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, of people reaching out, stirring the pot, causing problems and conflict for you, trying to get a rise out of you, attempting to get their claws in and attack when you're literally sitting there minding your own business. Okay. Everything is crystal clear. The policies are crystal clear. They know what they were engaging in. They're literally looking for reasons to start a problem with you. Who has noticed an increase in this? Okay. In the last week and a half. If you have, okay, I'm going to tell you why. If you haven't, get your helmet on, because here it comes. We are going through a massive astrological shift that is essentially adding up the last 11 years of bad behavior and is taking all of those people who have been choosing low level choices. They have been hurting other people. They have refused to do the work, and so they're spewing their toxicity onto everyone else. And they are starting to receive, not yet, but in a minute, they're starting to receive, and at this point they can feel it, the karmic delivery on their poor choices, their bad behavior, and their treatment toward others. Okay, so people get very nervous when that's coming. I can certainly see it. I think that what they try to do, instead of looking in the mirror or learning from it, because they had 11 years to do that, they're going to lash out on others around them. So don't be the punching bag, is my first suggestion. So that's just one thing that's going on right now. We can also look at the flip side of that and say, oh, well, I'm sure there are going to be many benefits to that. I would say yes. Okay, think about it. There certainly will be. But yeah, people are looking for a fight for sure. I also want to recommend that you be careful with that by making sure you're not feeding it. That means that if you have people around you that you really shouldn't be talking to, they're negative, they're toxic, they don't care about other people's well-being. If you are investing in a company, your job is hurting others, whatever it is that you are investing in your life, you need to exit now, because karma is contagious. I always say it's like gum on the bottom of your shoe. Okay. So what you feed, you get more of. You aren't maybe doing it directly, or you're like, I would never act like so-and-so, but you're there. You're supporting it. Okay. You're currency, you're giving it energy. So the universe doesn't see you as clear of it. The universe sees you as a contributor. So you will also get hit. All right, let's move on to tonight's sermon. What are the rituals of protection you can use in dealing with today's evils? Starting with the understanding that you should see humans as energy. If you look at every human being, not as a deep, complicated organism full of stories and mystery. No. Just see every single human being as a big blob of energy. Energy, which is being constantly manipulated. Energy, which is changeable throughout the day. Energy that has to, with a great deal of effort, learn eventually how to choose higher vibrational thinking and self-awareness, mindfulness, self-control, needs to choose higher vibrational action and a higher vibrational way of living instead of a low vibrational way of living, which is natural to that energy. So humans are by nature fearful, reactive, and quite dark, in my opinion. Those that have evolved into higher ways of being have done so through blood, sweat, and tears, long, dirty journeys, just choosing repeatedly throughout their lives to just work on it, okay? Until finally it gets easy and they're up there and they shine. They shine bright like a diamond, okay? They just shine. They attract all types of negative people who want to just siphon that energy instead of doing the work themselves. But they have an understanding, an intelligence about them, intuitive, empathic, humanitarian, all right? And it's through learned efforts and behaviors, also observational. Now, if you see clearly that the majority of people are not going to choose to do that work, then you understand why humans behave the way that they do and why the world is in the state of evil that it is currently in. Humans who choose the higher vibration sometimes are also not people you can really rely on. I like to put them in 3 categories. So you've got people who are going to choose the right thing 99.9% of the time. You see them do that. They're stable. That's what you can pretty much count on. Then you got people who are on the fence. You never know what they're going to choose. Most of the time or half the time, they're not doing the right thing. Sometimes they do. You would love to rely on them. You would love to keep them in your life. You would love to move them up into the safe category of high vibrational people. But the truth of the matter is that they just don't earn it. Their patterns over the years just don't show it. It's not proven. So you have to keep them there, as you should. In the middle group, the on the fence or in the gray group. Okay, at any point, they could fluctuate. Their energy is always changing. They're susceptible to manipulation. Not a lot going on there. Then you have the third group, which is like constantly, chronically choosing low toxic vibration. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. I don't care. Me. Everything's about me. They consume. They're vampires, right? The worst of the worst. There you got that group. Know that people are also susceptible, because they are energy, to being manipulated by the spirit world. So spirits that are up in a higher vibration, for example, will come to humans who are also in a higher vibration because there's an alignment there. And they will be able to channel through those humans. They'll be able to make that human look like an earth angel. They'll make that person look like some type of a saint, always healing, always helping, always spreading the light and the wisdom. But the reality is that a human who has chosen a high vibration is still nothing more than energy channeling and being manipulated, okay, by the spirits, the energies of the universe to do the good work. Then you've got the low vibrational people who are, whether it's in the gray group or the constantly toxic group, they all get pulled in together, where paranormal activity, evil entities, lower earthbound spirits, and all the other negative spirits know that this person is a jackpot. This person is not only someone they can feed off of energetically, but it's someone they can induce fear with, and they can feed off of fear energy, their favorite snack. They can also channel through those negative lower people and get them to do horrific things. And when someone is being channeled through by higher up spirits or lower spirits, they typically don't know, because that wisdom has been stolen from us in modern society. So whether you believe in mediumship or not, whether you believe in paranormal activity or not, you're being used all the time. not 24/7, but all the time. So you want to pay attention. What can channel through you is whatever you're in alignment with. And that explains the behavior of a lot of people around you who do horrible negative things and then say they don't remember it, or they had a blackout, or they argue with you and they say, I didn't say that. Now, some people are manipulative, yes, and they fully remember what they did. But other people are so toxic and negative that they are being used by evil entities to do horrible things to others. And they may not remember all of it. This increases if they drink or engage in any type of drug use. Fighting as well. Okay. If they're engaged in fighting or like a mental health crash out, they're susceptible to doing more of these horrible things. So let's just be mindful of who's around us, and also be mindful at all times that you also are energy. So you should never even let your guard down with yourself, because you are constantly being watched by the higher up spirits and the lower spirits in the universe to be used in one way, shape, or form. And again, we could just think of that as channeling if you want to look at it that way. Keep it simple. All right, let's get into the 3 spirits that are easiest for you to connect with if you want outside help in protection. Then we are going to get into the 4 different things you can do, rituals that you can use to protect yourself. So I want to start today with Kali, Kali. Who is seen? Let me know in the comment section. Who is seen or understands who Kali is? I was not familiar with Kali. Hindu is not, I don't subscribe to any religion, but like Hindu, other than the one I created, of course, which is what we're here for, right? But I don't even know a lot about Hindu, in all honesty. But Kali is a Hindu goddess. She came and protected me from actually some things in this house. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? I assure you, there were some evil things that went on in this house. Horrible. A lot of witnesses. Some of it made the news even. Horrible. And when I came in here after 16 years of this place being abandoned and that energy just brewing, I assure you it was 2 years of fresh hell for me, okay? And some of that included never sleeping. So Kali showed up one night, didn't have any clue who she even was, and attacked something, male energy that was attacking me in the night. So I saw her, I watched her work, I almost peed myself, and I spent 2 weeks wondering what the heck I had just witnessed. And I finally Googled it and realized it was her. So Kali is blue. She has, I don't know why they draw her with 2 sets of arms. When I saw her here, she had 3, but take it as it resonates, I guess. She was covered in blood and she had pieces of stuff on her. I didn't take the time that night to look at what they were. I was too freaked out. But if you look at images of her, their heads, their hands, their legs, their body parts, they're beheaded men, mostly. And the blood of these men. She's depicted often as having big, bushy, black, long hair. But when I saw her, it was very sleek, long black hair. She was at the bottom of my bed looking at this thing next to me. And she opened her mouth and this horrifying roar came out in this very deep voice. It wasn't like any human voice I'd ever heard. And her tongue rolled out and across the floor. So you'll often see that in the depictions of her. Her tongue rolls out. She's like screaming, she's roaring. So once I Googled it, I found out she is the protector of lightworkers. She is a protector for women. And I believe that's anything feminine. Okay. So all my gentlemen tuning in here who are tapped into their feminine energy, that's you too. All right. But she predominantly wards off toxic, hateful, masculine, attacking energies in order to protect the feminine and light workers. My mind was blown, to say the least. I stopped being afraid of what I saw. I knew immediately she had fixed this problem next to me, and it had been a problem in this house since the day I moved in. Never had the problem again. This entity that was attacking me literally just dissolved. It like evaporated and did not exist again. So she is an immediate fix to problems, whether you call on her or not. But I would highly recommend that you do, that you get in touch with her, especially in times like the ones we are in, where we have an international toxic male problem causing every single thing from top to tail. It'll always break down to that one common denominator. She's the go-to. I would recommend that if you have like a bed or a desk, a space that you use regularly, where you're either meditating, doing healings or readings, you're writing, you're sleeping, okay, maybe even walking or working out. I call it motion meditation, maybe even there next to your treadmill or something. I would put an image of her to the left, because she seems to always lure whatever is attacking the person over to the left side, and keeping some image of her there, whether it be a tapestry, a picture, a statue, I think can help solidify that space so that they can't get in there. Now, another reason you want to protect your left side wherever you are, not just with images of Kali, but in general, is because the left side of the body is the receiving side. The right side of the body is the power outside. So we receive, when your ears ring, you get that weird tinnitus, okay? And then thoughts come into your head, especially if you're like in the shower, you know, certain thoughts that are really dynamic, or songs pop into your head, or you can hear, you know, voices. That's all because the left side is the receiving side, for example. Okay, really important to know in mediumship, really important to know when spirits are trying to drain you or anything's trying to attack you, it's going to come from the left. If it's trying to get in, especially. I would suggest creating some type of an altar for her. I wouldn't mix and match everyone on your altar. It's up to you, whatever works for you, but maybe create a little space for her with some images of her, and make sure that you acknowledge her on a regular basis. So as you're walking by these images of her, just make sure you're saying thank you. Attitude of gratitude is really important, not only out of reverence and respect, but also to build a bond so you could feel a little bit closer to her. I would also suggest having an image of her or a big tapestry by your door. It's sort of a feng shui technique that you're not supposed to have the door in your bedroom, for example, behind you. Your bed should be set up in such a way where you can face the door. You may want to keep a tapestry of her by the door or picture. And is there anything else I want to really say about that? I don't think so. Chants are good. Ganesh Maka mantra is one I heard recently, well, a couple years ago, and I've actually been using it more recently. I brought it back, but this is very powerful. So Ganesh Maka mantra, you could just put that in YouTube and a whole bunch of chants will pop up. So that's a good place to start. It's obstacle removal. Again, that's Ganesh Maka mantra. Obstacle removal. All right, so she's not super friendly, I will say that. I mean, she didn't even really acknowledge me. Though I felt plenty acknowledged enough that she took care of my problem there permanently. I was amazed. I mean, I'm in the line of paranormal work and clearing things like this, but I've never been so immersed in so many problems where I couldn't leave and my tools weren't working. You know, a lot of it did, but some of it didn't. And this thing was becoming beyond me because I wasn't sleeping for so long, and it was just chronically attacking, and, it was getting out of hand. And she came in and handled things, but I never heard from her again after that. She's not someone you're going to buddy up with, but nonetheless, okay? Make sure you're giving constant gratification. Let's talk about Christ. So some of you may have a resistance to even just that word, that name. However, Christ is an incredibly powerful entity, and he will come through on a more friendly note, a little bit of a friendlier tone than Kali or some of the other spirits I'm going to mention here. And Christ will come in not just to protect you from, attacks from humans, for example, but will also come through to physically heal you, which makes you more equipped to protect your own self. And don't forget, the universe does require that you protect your own self. We can't just passively be calling in all of this outside help if we're unwilling to cut off toxic people in our life and leave that horrible company that, feeds genocide and this and that and the other. We can't just be calling for help all the time. All right. A lot of the problems we have, we cause ourselves. But Christ, if you are genuinely in need and you are genuinely ready to receive, Christ can come in and not only protect you and wipe out horrible people and situations for you. Okay, handle it. He'll handle it, but also bring you back into a full state of recovery mentally, energetically, emotionally, physically. I received 2 separate healings from Christ. The first one, I didn't even ask for because, again, I don't subscribe to any religion other than the one I've created here tonight that I made myself. Okay, I just don't. And I had a horrible skiing accident, and it had blown out the bottom of my back. And I was like a teenager. And so I had excruciating sciatica. For those of you who don't know what sciatica is, Google it. It is unbearable when it's bad. And surgeries don't tend to fix it and all this. So I thought I was going to be living the rest of my life with this unbearable, excruciating pain, radiating down one or both of my legs, or who knew, it was immobilizing me. And one night I was ready to give up. And I said, I was like 21, I think, at the time. And I couldn't even vacuum my own house. I couldn't take care of myself anymore. I was in agony all the time. And I just remember crying out for help to any spirit that could come in and help me. And I heard, get down on your knees. And I got down on my knees, in mediumship, in like audibly though, like in my own head, I could hear this, get down on your knees, which I did. And I heard, ask for Christ to come in and help you. And I said, I don't think I'm in a position to do that. I think most of what I do and the way I live is actually against all of that. And I heard, do it. So I called in Christ and I said, look, I don't, been a while. I mean, I did go to Catholic school for a bit. I said, I don't know what to say exactly, but I would appreciate if, you could do this for me. And I heard, get up, in a different voice, in what I believe is Christ's voice. And that wasn't the last time that would happen. And come to think of it, I don't think it was the first time, but I heard, get up and go lay down. What? And laid down. And I went unconscious. I literally went unconscious. I felt a heat from the top of my head down to the bottom of my feet, almost like warm water. And I was out. Never had the problem again. After that, long story short, there was another time I had these big ulcers. I was probably like 22. And my doctor was giving me meds and they were measuring them. And I had all the tests run, where they would do the whatever. They take the machine with the jelly and they kind of measure and, and I just remember the doctor being like, this is really bad for your age. You have got to learn to de-stress. But I had a hard life. And I decided to call on Christ again to see if I could get them removed. And the same thing happened to me. I went unconscious, a heat came over me. And when I went back to the doctor the following week to, like, they were going to change my meds and I don't know, do official stuff, they were gone. And I said to him, this is what I did. I said, I received a miraculous healing. I said, can you believe it? He said, actually, I've seen it before. And he said, you just got a get out of jail free card, kid. Amazing. Amazing. He said, take your meds if you want, but I don't know what to tell you. Okay. There's nothing there. So Christ is capable of coming in, okay, and bringing you the healing, the intervention you need, and can definitely kick some ass. I've seen that too since those episodes with him. I've seen a lot of incredible things that Christ can do, has done for me, even without my asking. And I think part of that is too, that I am showing gratitude every day and I am building a relationship there. Again, Christ is a bit more friendly. So there's kind of this back and forth mediumistic conversation that can go on there with him. So keep it in mind. Now, one of the things that can happen once Christ intervenes with you, though, I do believe you have karmic debt immediately. I would say that this is probably in all cases, which means once I was healed, for example, those 2 miraculous spontaneous healings, once I was healed, I was able to heal others. I can remove cancer. I can stop breast implants from leaking. I can repair neurological problems, joints and all kinds of health issues. This is now, I take it as my responsibility to do so, to give that out continuously. And whichever way you've been helped by them, you need to know that you should be paying it forward. Okay. Keep the door open for the next person. Or I don't know, maybe you do run the risk of losing it. Let's not find out. But don't just consume, make sure you pay it forward. So you can easily connect also to Christ energy if you feel like you're struggling with it in any way, or you just want a little bit more of a boost of energy. Through Gregorian chants are really helpful. Again, you can just put that into YouTube, Gregorian chants, and a bunch will come up. Know this, that as paranormal entities are increasing on attacking you, you are going to see that they go for any images that you have of Christ first. So if you have a cross up on your wall, they're typically going to spin it upside down or knock it off. If you have a picture of Christ, maybe it'll have burn marks in it, or it'll get, like knocked down, the glass will break. Just things to consider. But he is a point of attack when evil negative entities are coming at you. I would avoid going into church. Church is a slap in the face to Christ. I would avoid getting into any religion involving Christ. Again, slap in the face. Just do this between you and him. And try to keep images of him that actually match what he looks like. There's a certain appreciation there for that. Remember, he's Palestinian. So he's brown with lighter eyes, like those beautiful Palestinian green eyes on the dark skin, and the long brown hair. So he's not a white guy, So try to honor him in that way as well. Stay out of church. Don't create these fake white man images of him. Keep something of his under your mattress. And I would even say that, anything Christ related, but also like saints or anyone who's been associated with him, keep a prayer card, under your mattress. This will help to keep you protected at night. The third category of spirits you can call on that will give you immediate intervention, but often they do it even without you requesting them, are angels. So angels are a very real thing. If you've never seen them, then you probably think of them as looking like little cherubs, with their wings and their little white dresses. That's not really what they look like, but sometimes they will show up that way, I think, just so you're more comfortable with them, because what they actually look like is fairly scary. They do often look like gargoyles. Now, we see this on the churches, so I think back historically, churches knew what angels really looked like. So you see the gargoyles up on the top protecting the space. So they do. They also, some of them, depending on what type of work they do, they often look long and tubular. They have a long face. They have these very long arms, and their legs may come together into one piece. They can range in size, but often they come through and they are absolutely massive, quite intimidating. They don't say anything, and they are light beings. So they are the healing entities of the universe. They're incredibly powerful creatures, and they come through and they shine light. So visitation from them is often mistaken as an alien encounter. So angels can be called upon. In particular, Saint Michael the Archangel fights evil. Everyone's heard of that one, okay? But he's incredibly skilled in getting in there if you have a fight that you're entering into, you're about to be attacked, anything like that, difficult circumstance, call on him immediately. It does not take long for him to get there or to send his angels that work under him. Archangel Raphael, who's associated often with the color green, is also for healing. Right. And anytime we are going through a long fight in an evil world, as most of us are right now, certainly I'm sure all of you tuning in here, we need to revitalize. We need to increase our energy. We need to heal from the heartache, the disappointment, the grief, the chronic stress, the dysregulated nervous system, all the things, the trauma, mental and otherwise. We have to heal. Okay, we can't just focus on fighting the good fight and getting protection and increasing our skills. Part of that is healing. So know when to take a break and know when to call Raphael and Christ in to repair you. I would suggest putting statues, images of them out also under the mattress, a good idea. But know that they can also, if you're getting paranormally attacked within the house especially, you're going to see attacks on those images as well. All right, so I want to hear, because there are a ton more protective entities that you can call on. I would love to know, as would everyone else tuning in for this, what you use, who you call on. But those are 3 go-tos I guarantee are going to get the job done. And again, I wasn't even calling on them, okay, when they stepped in and saved my rear end many times. So there you go. All right, it's a guarantee. I want to move on to 4 different things that you need to be doing and some rituals here. Next, we are also needing to, I would recommend everyone check your roots in your bloodline and know what protectors your ancestors have been using. Lean into that heavily. All right. Especially if you're native, you're indigenous. I'm Taino. Any other Tainos, Arawaks here? All right. We all know our own. We all have our personal ones through our bloodline. And they have karmic debt to you in that area. They will protect you. You also have appointed to you at birth a protector guide, a guardian angel, and a protector angel. Your guardian angel is watching over your mental and emotional well-being. Again, healing, healing, healing. And your protector angel is watching over your physical body, your safety, okay, things like that. Your protector guide is watching over all of it, all the time, 24/7, literally never leaves your side. So get in touch with them. I would also just recommend that every morning you guys are taking maybe 5 to 10 minutes with your morning coffee or tea before you do anything else, and calling in your protectors and asking them to show you if there's anything you can avoid, if there's anything coming up, and if there is an attack coming up, how, when, where, and how can you best fight it? You will never be caught off guard. And it will become so routine that they are giving you the memo early that you will see it in your dreams. A prophetic, precise vision of exactly who's going to attack you, when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, how. And you will be given instruction while you're sleeping on how and when you should attack back, defend yourself, exit, whatever it's going to be. So you should wake up with that knowledge, which means keep a dream journal. Keep paper and pen in your bed at all times. And write things down. Okay? If you miss it at night, you'll catch it in the morning. 5 to 10 minutes, all right, with your protectors every morning. Ask what you need to be watching out for. Now, let's go ahead and get into the rituals, the techniques, the things you need to be doing to protect yourself. Oh, okay. I just want to, and then I'm going to pop up some of these comments. We have Goddess Isis. Okay, very good. Yeah, we have some questions, comments, and prayer requests in here. If you are tuning in late, please post your prayer and healing requests. I will be manifesting and praying over those for the next few weeks. So even if you're watching this later and your neighbors here tonight are going to see your prayer and healing requests in the comment section and send it some really good energy. Also, you guys feel free to donate to Roots to Revival. Greatly appreciated, not required. Please do give this video a thumbs up, share it right now, and please do subscribe. Drop a comment letting me know where you're tuning in from. Post your questions and comments. I will be getting to all of them at the end of the service, but I cannot take them from Instagram because I can't see that far tonight. Sorry about that. So switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy the Medium. Post your questions and comments. All right. So how to put all this into action for yourself. Right? The first thing you guys really need to be doing is cleansing. So you can use whatever works for you. If you know it's been effective, that's great. Please share. However, I would say that cleansing techniques, as the world is getting more and more riled up, as we're seeing an increase in the veil lifting, and so people seeing more and more of the vile behavior, we're finding that cleansing is not as productive as it used to be. So always prepare that the tools that you were using to cleanse out toxic and negative energy from your aura, from your energy, from your body, from your mind, it may just stop working at some point. Ezzy agrees. Hi, Mama. You going to join us? Okay, and you're not doomed. You just need to find better tools. Different things that you can do to cleanse. And again, before you do any of this, you should be cleansing. Okay. Cleansing is step number one. Let's make that clear. If I didn't already make that clear, cleansing is step number one in any of these rituals. So that is Epsom salt in the bottom of your shower. You put Epsom salt under your feet. And as the water rushes down, you can come on up here. We love you. We love you. As the water rushes down, you're visualizing anything negative, anything attacking you, any emotions, any type of energy whatsoever that does not belong in you or you don't want in you anymore. You're visualizing that it is rushing down your body out of the bottom of your feet. Sleep, I know it sounds like that's sort of a no-brainer, but sleep is a great cleansing technique. You can sage, Palo Santo. You can create your own type of sage. If you're not native and there's a lot of discrepancy about this, is it appropriate for you to be using white sage? There are a million different kinds of sage. Keep it appropriate because, again, we're trying to be in alignment with the highest vibrations. That means also if you're using something like Palo Santo or sage, make sure that it's harvested in a high vibrational way. It's not, raping the land. Use quartz crystal. Any really white stone, clear stones can help you to cleanse out, but you have to make sure with your crystals that these are cleansed and charged. So you're not just draining them constantly. Come up with a meditation ritual for yourself where you're drinking tea that is cleansing and detoxing you out. And with every sip, you are cleansing. You can use grounding techniques like earthing, meaning being barefoot out in the yard, hugging a tree. You can walk around barefoot. You just visualize that the earth is pulling out from the bottom of your feet, pulling and detoxing. Okay, this is why your dog feels better after a walk, because that's literally all that energy. Because your dog, for example, is like absorbing. They're here as healers on earth. So they're here to absorb your stress, your tension, your health problems. And you take them for a walk and they can excrete that energy instead of just letting it pile up in them. That's why even your dog feels better. So these are very natural, sort of obvious ways, but we don't do them intentionally enough. And you do need to be intentional. I would suggest walking as well. It doesn't have to be anything wild, but a nice brisk walk, maybe 15, 20 minutes can really help you to release. Yes. I like to call them feeling walks. I'll put on my sunglasses and I'll just walk and feel and think and process whatever has been happening that I've been, stressed about or having to protect myself from. And I'll just let myself cry and I let it out and I let it out and I let it out. And by the end of that walk, I'm like a totally different person. I don't know what that was. Confirmation. So make sure you're walking. I would even say if you could do it in the morning and at night, that would be best, but make sure you're walking every day. Plants can help. I'm not going to go through every cleansing ritual under the sun. Okay. But there are a million. Plants can really help a lot. Plants absorb paranormal energy. They absorb toxic energy. I've done videos on this for those of you who follow me. Okay. So keeping plants around. That's why a lot of people have them in their cubicles at work. You can also use eggs, an old Puerto Rican technique. You, in the shower, of course, you're using the egg to wash the palms of your hands to detox the bottom of your feet and at your crown. Okay. And you're saying any negative energy is leaving me. Okay. I am safe. I am protected. Negative energy is leaving me now. I would love to hear in the comment section, again, because I don't have time to focus on this exclusively tonight. What other cleansing techniques do you use and what works for you? Vibration plates. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about the vibration plate. That's a crazy looking item for $50 that you can get. And apparently it helps with a whole bunch of things. I'm thinking of getting one for a few different reasons. But I think that's got to be cleansing of your energy. All right. I see some comments coming in here. I appreciate that. Excellent. I'm going to read those off later. So let's move on from cleansing. Now you're clean. Okay. You can, even if you're in a pinch, you just visualize from, this is my go-to because I'm always on the road. I don't have time. I don't have time for a whole ceremony, but I will visualize from the top of my head down to the bottom of my feet that whatever energy I've picked up from whatever gig I was just working, for example, or whatever paranormal walk or tour I was just doing, wherever the heck paranormal I was, there's going to be energy, high, low, medium, and it can get sticky. And I will just say, All of this energy that I don't want in me is leaving now. Anyone else's energy, anything negative is leaving me now. And I just shake, shake, shake. So I will 1, 2, 3 shake with my hands. I look like a maniac probably now, but especially in the car, I get looks. And I will shake, shake, shake again. And then I will do it a third or even a fourth time. And I'm visualizing that whatever energy, I have sort of formulated there, I'm getting it out, okay, through my hands. And I just visualize that it's dropping back into Mother Earth where it can be reinvested, recycled in whatever way it needs to be. It's out of me. Okay. We are going to move on to binding. How do you bind? What does it mean to bind? Binding is a tool that you can use on anyone intending you harm. Now, if they're not intending you harm, then it won't work. But people can't just attack you and attack you and attack you without you accepting it. I don't believe in curses. I do believe in hoodoo. I believe that if somebody wants to do something to you, to harm you, that you will be stuck with it if you believe it. You give your power away to them. You become a victim. You just sort of let yourself get ran over. Okay. And it's true. It works. We see it in marriages, bad marriages. We see it in parent to child. I call it murderous parents, right? That type of dynamic. It works, especially when someone is feeling trapped and they can't get out. And that's legitimate. Okay. So getting yourself unstuck is part of the cleansing process. But this can also work even in those situations. But people who intend you harm need to sometimes be bound. And for those of you who say, well, I'm of the light and love crowd. I think that addressing it will bring me bad karma. Well, good luck. Okay. I hope that's not what you're telling your clients. Anyone who is being attacked has a responsibility to defend themselves. The universe isn't here to just take care of you all the time. So you are being held accountable. You need to hold yourself accountable. If you are doing your part, your 50%, so the universe can come in and do its 50% of helping you and protecting yourself, then everything will work out. But if you're just being a pacifist about it, it's going to be a problem. And people who believe that, if they don't just sort of turn the other cheek, that it's going to bring in bad karma. Quite frankly, I think they're working for the dark energy. I really do. Okay. I think anyone that says like, you don't fight, violence with violence, or it's not an eye for an eye, they're part of the problem. So I'm always suspicious as to how they're getting paid out for that type of mentality. It's not kosher. But let's say that you need to bind someone. You are going to visualize this person in your mind's eye, or if it's a group of people, you can visualize them sort of like as a group, but you may want to break it down to just one body image and say the whole group is in this one body image. You can also get a doll. So this is commonly seen in voodoo, for example. Or Reiki practitioners who do long distance Reiki like to use like a teddy bear or a doll or some stuffed thing, that they can kind of use their hand placements on or see more visually where they're sending their energy. Gives you a visual. So if you're the kind of person who likes a visual, you like to have something handheld, that'll work. You could also draw it out on paper. Right? So you could just draw a little body shape or even a stick figure. Anything like this will work. So a drawing, an object, visualizing in your mind's eye. I prefer just to visualize the person. So that's the example I'm going to use here. So what you're going to do is call in your protectors. So you've already done your cleansing. Okay. So this is step number 2. Step number 2 is binding. So you've already done your cleansing. Now you're going to hold a ritual. You're going to create a ceremony. And the more you do it, the more effective it is, the faster it is. This gets real potent, real crazy. So until you could sometimes just think it and manifest it. So you are closing your eyes. Let's say you're using the visualization one. Okay. You're going to close your eyes. You're going to visualize this person coming towards you. Keep them at arm's length. They stop right there. This person who is sending negativity at me is attacking me. And then given the nature of the situation, whatever this person is doing, usually whether they're trying to shoot you, they're trying to get you fired at work, they're trying to talk behind your back so their tongue is venomous, they're physically abusing you, this is a lover, whatever it is, you're going to break down kind of what they do specifically that's harming you. And you're going to bind that thing. You're going to bind that area. You're going to bind that activity. You can, for example, if you're binding the tongue because of the way that they're talking about you, you're going to visualize that you are tying their tongue. You are cutting their tongue out. Is it gruesome? Yeah, who cares, right? Whatever you need to do. We see this in voodoo and some other religions sometimes where they'll put like nails in the tongue. You can sew up their lips. Okay. You could put a lock over their mouth, whatever you want to do, given what they're doing. But you're going to disable that part of the body. Let's say they're hitting you, or they're threatening some type of physical harm through objects on you. This is the shooting. This is the beating. Okay. This is the physical activity. You could take the hands and put them behind the body and tie them with a rope. You can cut the hands off. You can put chains around the hands. You do whatever you feel is most powerful and works for you. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole body. I'm not going to go through everything. We don't have time for that today. However, and feel free to ask any questions again, and I'll get to them. But you need to be saying at the time of the binding, you can no longer do any harm to me. You are bound. You are prevented from sending any more harm at me, toward me. Trying to think of what else you do with binding. I had this lady attacking me once. I used to work these like psychic fairs and they would go on for like 4 days. They were 10-hour psychic fairs. We were traveling psychic fair. It was nuts. Okay. As soon as I came out of the gate doing this type of work, I got put into these psychic fairs. And while it was a blessing, I learned a whole heck of a lot about the light and love community. And there was this nutbag who, because I was like 30 and everyone was like in their 50s and 60s. And so, I guess I didn't really think they would be that bad, but the jealousy was real. I got first table. I would always have a line of people. They wouldn't have anyone. I did well. And some of them hated me. But boss lady was not about to demote me. So this nutbag who had been near first table or was first table actually ended up getting demoted. So it got worse and worse and worse. She apparently was attacking me for like 2 months. And I had noticed some weird things, but I am incredibly protected for a lot of reasons. And the only time it really stuck out to me was at night when I was receiving warnings about work, my coworkers, her. I saw some things. I saw some dark things coming at me, and I knew they weren't normal for me to see. So someone had to send them. Other than that, and I handled it on my own. I wasn't being affected, so I didn't know. Eventually, though, it got so bad, and she was talking about it to so many people, and she was doing it so frequently, and she was so frustrated that it wasn't working. She started up this group to kind of get other people to join in, and some of those people came to me, and they said, look, she is sending all this junk at you constantly, and she's trying to get others involved, da 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 da, you know? I said, really? So I went home and I did, number 1, my cleansing, number 2, my binding, number 3, my blocking, and number 4, my repeat, which we're going to get into. And all her hair fell out. She ended up in the hospital for 7 months. And I never had a problem, but she did. And all I did was send back to her what she had sent to me. Nothing new, nothing more, nothing 10 times, nothing. Simply what she was sending at me back onto her. And that was the end of her. I saw her years later and the wind blew. She had a comb over situation. She was totally bald under there and kind of hobbling around town. So just goes to show you, okay, that's what she wanted to do to me. That's what she was trying to do to me. And when she couldn't, she wanted to get a group together to do this to me. Don't put up with people's shit, okay? And don't believe that you can't fight back or you shouldn't fight back. Fight back. It's not even hard to fight back with these ceremonies, okay? Because the karmic favor is on you. So that's just one example of how you can bind or send the energy back. Something else you really should be saying, we're going to get into number 3, which is blocking, is return to sender. So make sure that when you're going through these rituals, you have some type of a mantra that you're using. The one thing about binding, though, and blocking is this. You have to assume that if you are in a long-term problem, like the current revolution we're in the world, right? Started in January of 2025. We haven't seen it in 250 years since the French Revolution, the American Revolution. I've been talking about the revolution coming since 2016. So this is it. Now that it's here, we are talking about the long game. This isn't going to be overnight. So if you're in a situation like that, if you're protesting, whatever it is, you're trapped in a marriage, you're trapped in a toxic family situation, whatever it is, you're trapped in a job where you can't get out very quickly. Just remember that you have to renew these things. Okay? It can protect you, and maybe it will be an instant problem solved, never to come up again. Like I said, I've done it. I've had it. But, sometimes you see that within like 3 weeks or so, you need to come at it again. All right. So be mindful, be aware, and catch it before it gets out of control. Be proactive, let's say. So binding. Number 3, blocking. Blocking is probably the most commonly discussed tool that can be used to prevent harm. It's really not going to work if you're not doing these 2 things, I think, with it, though. So be careful. Don't allow yourself to get frustrated. Just follow the rules. So blocking is preventing someone from sending something your way or doing something directly to you. You can use a blocking ritual, again, on the paper with a doll or in your mind's eye. Let's use, again, the visualization technique. So I will visualize this person in front of me, always at an arm's reach. And I will call in their higher mind, because believe it or not, even those people have one, right? So I call in their higher mind, the part of them that is of the higher vibration, the universe, God, the light. And I will say, my higher mind, wants to speak to your higher mind. You can also call in their inner child. My inner child wants to play with your inner child because there was a time when they were innocent. And calling in those two sort of higher vibrational energies within them allows you to have a meeting with this person where you're saying, you can't treat me this way anymore. You are prevented. I am now blocking you. I am cutting any cords. I expect you to treat me with respect. I expect you to treat others with respect. You're being prevented from causing any more harm. You may want to do the loving thing and say, like, to yourself and to others, okay? Because it's also coming from self-hatred, whatever works for you. And you are going to cut if you see cords there. I have a cord cutting class up on the website if you want to get that as well. That's 2 hours of training in this. But you're going to want to visualize that if there are any cords between you guys, that's not always there, but you take the scissors and you cut those cords off so they can't feed off of you anymore. They can't easily track you anymore. They can't show up in your dreams. They can't mentally or emotionally, energetically affect you anymore. Okay. Then you are letting them know that they cannot enter your space. They cannot affect you. You can visualize at that time maybe a brick wall in front of you or around you, maybe an eggshell from the top of your head down to the bottom of your feet, something strong, okay, like a brick wall, a titanium eggshell. Maybe you want to do something more like mirrors if you are doing a repeat to sender. So you can visualize mirrors all on the outside of you. So not only are they blocked from entering, and your mantra can be, you cannot enter this space again, okay? You cannot enter, but you can also do whatever you send to me is returned back to you. Some people like to take it the extra mile and be like times 10, okay? Whatever they've been sending to you is going to go back onto them. Now, if you're in like the office, for example, and you're doing this to a coworker who's attacking you, they are immediately going to know that something is up. They are typically, for the next 3 days after you do this, going to avoid you like the plague, but they will also accuse you of being weird or off or seeming negative, not realizing the entire time it's simply their energy being reflected back onto them. It usually works for about 3 weeks. Most of this works for about 3 weeks. Sometimes longer, sometimes the problem's solved immediately. You know, sometimes you want to renew it in like 3 days if the situation's really bad. But that's what you can expect in that type of environment. Now, you can also block with things like, probably the most common thing you hear is black obsidian. Is it black tourmaline? What are the black stones? I can't think of them all off the top of my head at the moment. One has spots on it. Anyways, you guys can post in the comment section, okay? What stones are used for protection. So yeah, black obsidian, black tourmaline. You can, trying to think of what else we use strong for blocking. You could do some southern, I'm from Savannah. You can use some deep south, Louisiana, New Orleans tricks here. Salt, laying down a line of salt, laying down red brick dust. Okay, and these are things that will work on paranormal activity as well. You can also grid. So again, for paranormal activity or someone in your vicinity trying to attack, you can grid. Gridding is a little more complicated to explain here, but it is essentially taking preferably quartz crystals raw and charging them up and putting them in the four corners, okay, of whether it be like your cubicle at work or your vehicle or, you know, your bed, wherever you need it, okay? Remember that when people are attacking you, unfortunately, you also usually start attracting some paranormal activity. It is paranormal activity working through those people or working with those people. And I'm not letting them off the hook. I'm not saying, oh, they're possessed. No, no, no. They fed it. They chose it. They want it. They are also to blame. But now it's getting worse because of these entities. So, blocking yourself from toxic people is great, but also use this toward the spirit world. I have a ton of videos on this. There's also a hauntings, clearings, and detachments class up on my website that can give you more insight into more techniques. So after blocking, remember to repeat. Don't get sloppy on that, and don't trust that these negative people or these negative entities aren't waiting to come back. Okay, think of your crazy exes. Who's a crazy ex that comes back a decade later? I got a bunch of them. Like just 10 years goes by, and they're watching, they're doing weird stuff, and they're trying stuff, but all of a sudden, here they are again. It's like whack-a-mole, like crabgrass. They never leave, right? Some people have no life. They really don't. They have no future. They have no life. They have no love. They hate themselves. No one wants to deal with them. There's nothing other than hatred. There's no possibility for a moment of pleasure if they're not trying to suck the life out of someone else. That's all they're made of now. They'd be better off falling off entirely, but they're too big of cowards to do that. So trust that it will come back. All right. Until maybe the situation is over. And that's what we're going to see, I believe, with the revolution. Okay. On that note, before I get into your questions and comments, I do want to make a couple quick announcements. The next church service is going to be on the 15th, and it's going to be Now is the Time for Sharp Intuition. I'm going to teach you some intuitive skills and tools that I use to survive apocalyptic times. I was involved in 9/11. I was involved in some other horrific situations. I survived them all. The times that we're in currently are going to require that those of us who survive are, like the Hopi prophecy, in alignment with spirit, but also really using our own intuition to get the job done. We have another one coming up. I haven't booked the date yet, but it's going to be called Whose Fight Is This? This is also on the revolution and the attacks that are going on right now. Whose fight is this? A lot of people in America are asking that. Well, who should be at the front line? Well, who's responsible for getting this done? Is it the government? Is it the people? If it's the people, what groups of people? And a lot of people just assume it's all of us. It's all of us Americans. Not exactly. Not exactly. So, whose fight is this? I'm going to talk about where the karmic debt lies. And then we're going to cover the obvious, where the karmic debt lies, and the not so obvious within that, meaning what groups are responsible for really getting this done. And, what the universal requirements are to help us escape and move through this mess that we're currently in. We have another one coming up February 22nd. And that's going to be the art of intimate detachment, because some of you requested more insight on how the heck you can stay involved with people you love or a romantic partner, for example, and still remain detached. So it's not sucking you in all the time. If you're upset by something, maybe you're newly dating someone or your friends have disappointed you or you feel betrayed, how do you not let it wreck you? Okay. How do you get intimate with people while remaining detached? It truly is an art. And we're going to break that down on the 22nd. Okay. Anyways, I want to go ahead and get into your questions and comments. Now let me see where we are. Hold on real quick. Okay. So we have, and hopefully I don't ruin this. I'm not used to producing on my own, guys. For those of you who follow me, I just always need help with tech. Okay, so let's take a look at the first comments again. If you wanted to ask a question or drop a comment, but you are on Instagram, I can't see it. So I need you to go over to YouTube at Ask Ivy the Medium and drop it there. All right. So I see a bunch of thank yous. You guys are very welcome. People are saying thank you for sharing this. Thank you for this wisdom and education. You are so welcome. Bunch of people commenting on the beautiful ceiling behind me. Thank you. Angel Raven 2816 says, so someone not to be afraid of. Well, I would say that you should not be afraid of paranormal entities. You should not be afraid of some DB who wants to do damage to you and other people. You know, you should not be afraid of someone who, like that nutbag, right, I got stuck working with, whose hair fell out. Like, well, you know, was I afraid of her? No, honestly, I didn't even know. That's how oblivious I am. That's how well protected I am, because I'm never afraid of anything. I don't allow myself. It's not that I couldn't get afraid. It's not that that wasn't disturbing for me to hear from a whole group of people that she was attacking me and trying to recruit others. It's disturbing, but I didn't let it make me afraid. And there were a lot of people who came up after that who were like, you know, you should be afraid, or you should leave, or you should run, or you should hide, or blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, you wish. Not today, Satan. All right. Just write that right in here. Not today, Satan. All right. You're not going to allow it. No, definitely don't be afraid. And again, like hoodoo, you know, you can't watch The Skeleton Key. The Skeleton Key is a movie that breaks down really well. Again, deep Louisiana, New Orleans. You know, it's heavy. It's heavy out there. We know that, yes, these things occur and they can be deadly, but only if the person allows it. And the universe knows that. That's universal law. You are responsible for protecting yourself. And then you can call in extra help. Okay. But you can't just be a victim to it. So when people are like, there's a curse on you, hire me for $500 to remove it, they can't do that. No one can remove it but you. They can help you. They can give you tools like I'm giving you tonight, but I couldn't come and do it for you. And it doesn't even work that way. Okay. It's not there unless you believe it. And it's the same thing with a house, a haunted house, an entity in the house, needing a paranormal cleansing. Nobody can come in and cleanse your house. I've been doing this for over 15 years for the public. You know, no one can come and fix that for you. You have to be engaged in the process. You have to do it. I could show you how. I could tell you what you're dealing with. I could tell you preventative measures to take. But no, we should not be afraid. Absolutely not. People like to convince you that you have no power. It makes them money. It lets them feed off your fear. Lots of currency in that. Angel said, I'm having issues on my left side, some real energy. Okay, we will send you healing for that. Goddess Isis. Is that a set good? I'm not familiar with that. Isis, I am familiar with. Okay, so another one that you guys can call on. Absolutely. Angels also says, I've done some meditations years ago that Christ and Goddess Isis, okay, and it is ASET, ASET. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Came into both Christ and ASET were strongly visible. You know when else Christ shows up? When you're healing yourself, because again, that is your responsibility, especially if you are a fighter, if you're being attacked, whatever it is, right? You're part of the revolution. I've done Reiki. I've received Reiki before where I'm just laying on a table and Christ showed up. And I'm like, holy, this is a huge deal. Not looking for it, not expecting it, not thinking anything. And I received some downloads and instruction about the future. And it was this phenomenal experience, but because I was taking care of myself, because I struggle to take care of myself. You know, I struggle to pour back into me. Everything with me since birth has been trained to go out, 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 you know, and I like doing it. You know, I have a lot of energy to do it, but I was realizing I had a responsibility to focus on my own healing more. I go in for something like a Reiki session and I have that phenomenal encounter. Okay, so you never know when they're going to show up. Showed up for Angel when she was meditating, right? Taking care of her soul, her spirit. Thank you for sharing that, Angel. Thank you for sharing all of that, Angel. Love and Beloved says Labradorite stones and authentic shungite. I've never even heard of shungite. I'm going to have to look that up. Why do I feel like it's green? Is that true? I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up. Authentic shungite. So we're talking about protection, I'm assuming. We're talking about protection, maybe also cleansing. Maybe these work for that. Labradorite. Yes. Okay. Labradorite stones. Labradorite. I believe that's the black one with the speckles on it. Thank you for sharing that. Lapis. Okay. Lapis lazuli, as it's known. Okay. And then we have Love and Beloved also says, after clearing and blocking, can you share anything about actively calling in the light to fill that space? Sure. So, I mean, you can always, and yes, I would recommend that whenever you get rid of something, you are calling in the polar opposite. Okay. So this is why when a lot of people will, for example, get certain stones like black obsidian, like they're blocking out negativity, they'll also get like a pink, rose quartz or something to bring in the love. It's a great example of balance, this question. So sure, when you are saying this thing must leave, nothing can enter here, this is bound, whatever it is, you can also say, and I would just wait kind of till the end, of your ritual, of your ceremony, and say, and I am uplifted with like the energy of the universe or spirit. I am protected with the light of the energy and love of the universe. I am a powerful entity. You could also, my favorite go-to for really anything is to visualize that I'm putting layers of light around me from like a bubble from the top of my head down to the bottom of my feet. I'm putting layers of different colored light around me. And with every color, you can set an intention for what that color means. White is usually cleansing and God energy. Blue is typically self-empowerment. Yellow is happiness, fun, travel, adventure. Red is power. Dark blue is being seen as power. Green is healing. Pink is often considered unconditional love, but you could just, love in general, if I didn't already say that, right? So like every color, brown is getting grounded, whatever you want to do. I'll usually do 2 or 3. Okay. Also, whatever color I put on the outside is how people are seeing me. So it can be like what I'm attracting, what I'm you know what I mean? What I'm being seen as, like sort of what I'm manifesting should go on the outside. It's what's presentable to the world. So yeah, I would definitely counteract when we talk about cleansing a house, when I teach people how to like go through and sage their entire house, for example, we say any negative energy, any lower energy must leave this space now. This space is safe and protected. And at the same time, they are saying we are only allowing for high vibrational energy. We are calling in high vibrational loving energies in this home now. So balance. Good point. Thank you. Love and Beloved. Absolutely. But your own light is filling that space. So it's not like, you're responsible for that. Like it automatically happens because you're already a high vibrational creature. You're just getting rid of the junk. I'm gonna tell you guys too. This is gonna sound harsh, but there is an increasing number of people who know that a company is toxic, it's harming people, it's feeding a genocide, whatever, and they can't be bothered to go 2 blocks down to a different store. nah, it's inconvenient for me. So, I'm going to, instead of protesting against this company, I'm going to just go ahead and keep putting my money over there to all the harm it does. I'm going to give them more power. I'm going to give them more money. Sloppy, lazy, inexcusable. There are a lot of people now in growing numbers who have toxic family or, parents mostly, but like uncles, friends, whatever. And they're still getting together with them on the holidays. They're still hanging out with them regularly. And these horrible people are trying to take everyone's rights away, and they hate minorities and they hate women. And, they're murderous, toxic, really evil people. And we're like, well, that's dad. Well, that's grandpa. Well, that's my uncle. That's my boyfriend though. Yeah, but that's my husband. You're feeding the problem. None of this is going to work for you. None of this. There is no hope for you until you start standing up for what's right. If you cannot feed the light, you don't deserve the protection of the light, because you are harming others through the social currency you're giving these hateful, harmful people, through the money you're directly giving to these harmful companies. If you are feeding the problem, you are the problem. You will not receive the protection. I'm just saying. Now or never, folks. Wake up, smell the roses and the coffee, and start holding yourself accountable. Let's look at this next one. Angel says, do you do mini readings? I do shows. I do 50,000 shows per month. At this point, I'm doing 3 per week. And then you can go onto my website. You can book. There's a million different things up there. Ivy Rivera, psychicmedium.com. I guess for you, probably you're thinking a mini reading is like something just really short. That would probably be my 15-minute option. Or you could do an email reading. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so Angel says, you say entity for even the good ones. Are they all called that? I'm thinking it was only for the bad. I call them entities. So you've got entities like angels. Entity is just my word for spirits, but like powerful. Okay, they've got some pull. I would not call, for example, an earthbound random guy who was toxic in his life, who decided not to cross over into the light, who now haunts your house. I wouldn't necessarily call him an entity. I would call him an earthbound. So yeah, entities could be, of anything within range of, super toxic, like evil, all the way to our higher up, like angels, saints, Christ, Kali, goddesses. Absolutely. Love and Beloved said, thank you so much. You are so welcome. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I will see you the next time I'll be back looks like tomorrow. Okay, so I can't even talk anymore. I feel like my face is going numb too. I feel like I'm Mercury in retrograde. So tomorrow I will be back for love and relationships. This is one of the shows that you guys blew out of the water when I did my test shows to see what would be added to the 2026 show lineup. And so it made it. And this is the first one we're doing. All right. So thank you so much for your support. Love and relationships is tomorrow. You can get your early questions in now. It is unlimited. You can ask about your love life, family, friends, coworkers, your weird relationship to a habit, yourself, a pet, whatever it is, anything goes. And on Wednesday, I will be back for pet readings, another show you guys voted in and hugely supported. I'm so excited this one made the cut. So pet readings is for your living or deceased pet. I will be channeling any messages that they have. You can also ask specific questions. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. And I will continue, to send prayers and manifestations. I will see you next time.